If I was starting over in my 20s with just $1,000 to my name, here's exactly how I'd invested to go from $0 to where I am now, which is $70K. Whether you're working a 9 to 5, freelancing, or just figuring things out, this step-by-step plan will set you up for long-term success. We'll cover everything from high-income skills to the smartest way to invest, so stick around, this could change your life. The absolute best investment you'll ever make is in yourself. That $1,000, spend it on books, courses, podcasts, or even one-on-one coaching, because the skills you build today will compound into massive financial returns later. At this point, I'm not quite sure how much I've spent on coaching, courses, and books myself. That has allowed me to gain valuable skills in coding, photography, coaching, content creation, and a bit of sales and marketing. And these skills have allowed me to make a lot more money recently than I did in my early 20s. But that being said though, let's say you invest in a course for learning photography. You don't just consume the content, you actually need to actively go out and apply what you learn. What I did when I was learning photography is I paid a coach to show me the things that I needed to be able to do for clients, but he also gave me a project every single week that I needed to complete, which included 5 photos for a client project. And while I was doing the coaching, I also did a 365 project where I uploaded a photo to Instagram every single day for 1 year with photos I had worked on. And that's how I became really good at photography and also managed to get into the position where I am today, where I'm just doing it as a freelance hobby, and I've made roughly 8K for taking portrait photos for guys, social media, and dating profiles. And if you're not sure where to start, I'd recommend you look into sales, copywriting, digital marketing, or coding. These skills are in high demand and can quickly translate into income. Now that you know where to put your money in the early stages, step 1 is really to build some cash flow. You need to get some active income. Before you can even think about getting passive income or start investing into stocks, you need some cash flow. This usually starts with a 9 to 5 or a job of any kind. It doesn't have to be your dream job, but it needs to pay the bills and give you room to grow. I'm a big proponent of getting a factory job that's close to your home and just working overtime and earning as much money as you can as early as possible. I didn't do this myself, and that's one of the mistakes I did in my teens and early 20s. This would have given me a long head start on where I would be today if I had actually followed that advice. And the reason I recommend a factory job is that it's just very accessible for many. You don't need a lot of skills to start in a factory. But if you have the ability to, another option is also finding something that teaches you transferable skills or has the potential for growth. For example, working at a startup can expose you to multiple aspects of a business, giving you an edge when you start your own venture. This is currently what I'm doing. I'm working at a tech startup as their chemist, while I'm building this YouTube channel, and I have a photography side hustle on the side, and I'm also learning coding. The next step is, if you have any high interest debt, try to pay them off as quickly as possible. It's a silent killer for your financial progress. I personally don't have any debt. I bought both my car and my motorcycle with cash, so the only thing that's a recurring bill is my insurance, my housing, and my subscriptions. And I will emphasize here, not all debt is bad. A mortgage or a low interest student loan, it can be strategic, but anything over 10% interest should be eliminated first. Next step is you want to build an emergency fund. Without an emergency fund, you're basically playing on survival mode, clawing and scratching to make it month to month. I'd recommend you aim for anywhere from 3 to 12 months of living expenses. This creates a safety net and reduces stress, which cannot be understated. It really lets you take some calculated risks from there. Currently, I have, I think, around 40K in stocks, and I have money to invest more in myself for coaches and courses, and if something happens, I'll have plenty of money for the next year or two to survive. So I'll never be going into survival mode again because I've built this emergency fund. And just knowing that I have this cushion, it really gives me a peace of mind and the confidence to focus on building wealth and the ability to make sacrifices along the way. And finally, when you have your emergency fund, you made some cash and are well into the 5 figures, I'd recommend you invest in the market. The S&P 500 or the Nasdaq 100 or any similar low-cost index funds are a great place to start. The market usually increases every year, and over time you'll have a compounding effect where that 10 grand you've invested suddenly turns into way more than just those 10 grand. And the key is, when you started investing, you want to keep investing every month ideally. I like to employ a strategy called dollar cost averaging. Instead of trying to put all your money in at the same time at the perfect time, so if you break that chunk into 12 smaller chunks and just slowly invest every month, you'll eliminate the chances of you investing during a high and then the market going down right after. But generally, the earlier you start, the bigger the payoff. So when you have that emergency fund plus some extra saved up and have already started to invest in yourself, that's the time I'd recommend investing in the market. But you are still the most important investment. If you cannot afford to invest in yourself, you're not ready to invest in others, in my opinion. And finally, look into how you can increase your income further. I did this with freelancing and photography, as I mentioned, and then aim to scale it over time. Ever since I landed my high-level chemistry job at the tech startup, I've been trying to really find ways to increase my income and keep increasing my skills. And it doesn't have to be a lot to really make a difference. Right now I have around 1 shoot a month. I don't put a lot of energy into my freelance photography ventures, but I still make around $500 a month from photography, which is basically like free money. I'm working with my old buddy where he gets us the clients and I do the shoots. And for just spending a couple of hours, I get $500 quite easily, and I find it super fun. So for me, it's almost like free money. So start looking into skills that you might have that can actually help people, or using the steps I outlined early in the video. And finally, the next step, which I haven't gotten to yet, is starting a high cash flow business. The thing is, working a 9 to 5, like mine in the tech field, gives me a nice salary. It's not quite 6 figures a year, but it's not too far off. But the thing is, it's not very scalable. If I really want to make a lot more money, I need to get a high cash flow business running. And this could be anything from a digital agency to an online coaching business. The goal here is to own something that's scalable and profitable. I'm at the point now where I have a lot of different skills, but I'm trying to figure out exactly how to leverage that into something that's a high cash flow business. And actually this YouTube channel, Neosphere, is my way of condensing some of my knowledge into something that can potentially turn into a high cash flow business later. So my practical advice here is starting small, and you can even offer some services for free to build a portfolio, and then use those case studies to land paying clients. Once you got the momentum, you can reinvest into things like ads and hiring and so on. But as I mentioned, I'm not quite there yet. I've just been studying what other successful people have done here. And I want to wrap it up with the fact that the path to financial freedom isn't complicated. It just takes a long time. It's a marathon for many people. But in essence, it's building cash flow, investing in yourself, staying consistent, and letting time and effort compound. You don't really need any shortcuts here. Success is really inevitable if you do the work. And you're gonna see that if you follow my journey here, because I'm definitely on that upslope towards really increasing my income and living a great life. But yeah, I'd love to hear what's your financial numbers that you're aiming for. Right now, I'm personally aiming for consistent 6 figures a year and also 100K in the bank. Drop in the comments and let's start a conversation. And if you're serious about building your best life, hit subscribe and join the Neosphere.